So we're going to be working on orders of operations. Again, in order of operations, it goes parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, adding and subtracting. How I remember this is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Each letter in that represents the order of operations. So we're looking at question number one. Question number one, we're going to start on order of operations with this parentheses. So I'm going to be working inside the parentheses. In the parentheses, I only have one operation, and it's negative 15 divided by 3. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. And again, I only have one operation, so I'm just going to complete that operation. Negative 5 plus 8 is 3. Moving on to the second question. Again, we're going to start inside our parentheses. And 6 plus 2 is 8. Now, I don't know if we've been taught this before, but when we write things right next to each other and there's no visible operation, we're going to multiply. So 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, so we're still working on order of operations, but we're going to add an element to this. We're going to evaluate expressions, also given variables. So we're going to start with this, and I'm going to substitute negative 10n for z. So every time I see a negative 10, I see a z, I'm going to plug in negative 10. So it's going to be negative 5 right next to negative 10. And again, we already established that as multiplication. Negative 5 times negative 10 is 50. So again, we're going to plug in our values. So it's going to be parentheses 2 times 6 parentheses minus 24 plus a negative 11. Okay, so we're going to start in order of operations with parentheses. Now, we have two sets of parentheses, so we like to go left to right first. Inside the parentheses, we only have one operation, so there's no need to evaluate in order of operations. 2 times 6 is 12, so I've got 12 minus 24 plus negative 11. Still doing order of operations, so my parentheses are going to come first. So 24 plus a negative 11 is 13. And 12 minus 13 is negative 1. Okay, so again, plug in. So it's 3 times 4 divided by 6 minus 72. Okay, so we need to talk about the big division bar. The big division bar automatically groups, and it groups your numerator and your denominator. Okay, so everything in my numerator is grouped together first before I divide, and everything in my denominator is grouped together first before I divide. So let's start. 3 times 4, and again, order of operating parentheses. Okay, so my grouping, my red grouping parentheses are what I'm going to start with. I'm going to do 3 times 4, which is 12. The next in order of operation is exponents, which we're not worrying about today. Then we have multiplication and division. So multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction. So we're going to do the division first, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So we got 2 minus 72, and 2 minus 72 is negative 70. Okay, so order of operations, we're getting a little tougher now. Parentheses first. So again, I go left to right on my parentheses. So I'm going to do that left parentheses first. It's going to be 3 times 14 divided by 5 minus 3. Again, we're still on the parentheses step. So I'm going to finish out my parentheses. All right. Next in order of operations is exponents, which we're not going to worry about today. Then multiplication and division. multiplication and division, those are on the same line, so they're not interchangeable. They are done at the same level in order of operations. I'm gonna read left to right again to follow that order. So I'm gonna do 3 times 14 first because it was more to the left, not because multiplication isn't before division, but because it was more to the left. So 3 times 14 is 28. 42. So I got 42 divided by 2, and 40 divided by 2 is 21. Okay, so again, we have the big division bar. So that's an automatic grouping symbol. So again, we're on parentheses first. So I got 8 divided by 10 minus 9. 10 minus 9 is 1, so I get 8 divided by 1, which is equal to 8. Okay, so continue on order of operations, parentheses, exponents still not in there, multiplication and division, I do have that. The dot is another symbol for multiplication, okay? We use the dot because we use X throughout the majority of Algebra 1, and so the multiplication symbol and the X would get really confusing if we use them both, so we use the dot instead of the X to denote multiplication, which you probably use the X in grade school. So we got 8 times 1. 8 times 1 is 8. And 8 plus 6 is 14. So again, parentheses, no parentheses, exponents, no exponents, so multiplication and division from left to right. So there's my first order of operation. So it's 6 plus 18 minus 25 minus 2. No parentheses, no exponents, no multiplication or division. So now we're on adding and subtracting. Again, we're going left to right. So I'm going to do 6 plus 18. 6 plus 18 is 24. 24 minus 25 is negative 1. And negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. If you're struggling with the negatives, we're going to spend a whole day on adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers. Okay. So again, we're going to plug in for our values. So A is going to be 3, B is going to be 4, and C is going to be 3. So we got 4 times 3 plus 3 divided by 4 minus 3. You can see that 4, it's 4. Alright, so again, I know we've covered this a couple times, but just make sure we're clear. Big grouping symbols, the big division bar automatically groups my numerator together and automatically groups my denominator together. So then I'm going to follow order. I got parentheses. If parentheses are inside of parentheses, we always start in there. So like parentheses reset my order of operations. So then I, again, inside the parentheses, start at parentheses. So I'm going to do 3 plus 3 first, which is 6. And 4 times 6 is, again, it doesn't matter. We could do 4 minus 3 first because they're both grouped together. But just working this way. 24 and 4 minus 3, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. So again, 24 divided by 1 is just 24. Make sure I didn't skip any questions. Oh, looks good.